Good day, everyone. I am Rachel Enoch, and I will be explaining the chapter about collecting quantitative data. This chapter discusses how researchers gather numerical information in a systematic, organized, and ethical way. It outlines the major steps we must follow to ensure that the data we collect is valid, reliable, and appropriate for our research. Now, let's go through each part one by one. First is selecting participants. The first step is choosing who will be included in the study. We start with a population, which is the larger group we want to understand. From this population, we select a smaller group called the sample, and these are the people who actually participate in the research. So, researchers choose sample carefully and they may use random sampling where everyone has an equal chance or other sampling methods depending on the purpose of the study. So, deciding how many participants are needed is also important. A sample should be big enough so that the results represents the population well.
Second is obtaining permissions. Now, before you or we collect data, we must secure proper permissions. And this includes school district administrators, principals, teachers, parents, especially when minors are involved, and the Institutional Review Board or IRB. These permissions ensure that the study follows ethical rules, respects the rights of participants, and does not disrupt school or organizational activities. Third is deciding what type of data to collect. The type of data we collect must match our research question, of course. Researchers may collect performance data like test scores, questionnaires responses, attitude scales, behavioral observations, records and documentations, and demographic information. Now, to do this, researchers first identify all the variables in the study and define exactly how each variable will be measured. And this is called operationalizing the variables. Locating and evaluating instruments. After identifying the type of data needed, researchers must find or create the right instrument. Instruments may include tests, questionnaires, surveys, and checklists. Researchers can also look for instruments in, like the the ERIC database or ERIC database, test in print, mental measurements yearbook, published journal articles, or through advisors and field experts. Kasi when choosing an instrument, two qualities are essential. The reliability, the instrument gives consistent results. The validity, the instrument measures what it claims to measure. If an instrument lacks Kasi if an instrument lacks reliability or validity information, it is not a good choice for research. Understanding measurement scales. Quantitative data can be measured using different scales. Nominal, categories without order, ordinal, rank categories, interval, equal intervals but no true zero like Likert scale, and ratio, equal intervals with a true zero like height and age. So, knowing the measurement scale is important because it determines which statistical test you can use later.
Administering data collection. So once everything is prepared, data can now be collected. But quantitative research requires standardized procedures, meaning Everyone receives the same instructions. The steps are written and followed strictly. Data collectors are trained. There are scripts and checklists. Timing and conditions are controlled. So data can come from participants themselves, like self reports, researchers, observations, or ratings. Documents and records, proper organization is also necessary, including secure storage of data. 7. Ethical consideration. Ethics play a major role in research. Research must protect the rights and privacy of participants, of course. So, ethical practices include asking for informed consent, ensuring confidentiality and anonymity, allowing participants to withdraw at any time, and minimizing disruption in schools or workplaces, storing data securely, treating participants respectfully at all times. So, these guidelines ensure that the study is conducted responsibly. Okay, let's proceed to additional guidelines for strong quantitative research. So, the chapter also gives extra reminders such as use the largest sample possible and secure all permissions early and make sure instruments are appropriate and select the correct measurement scale to decide whether the data will be self-reported or researcher reported. So by following this, it can help improve the quality and trustworthiness of the research. Next, tips for consumers of research. When reading research studies, we should also evaluate if sampling was explained properly, if valid instruments were used, if reliability and validity were reported, if data collection procedures were clearly described, and if multiple forms of quantitative data were used. So, this helps us judge whether a study is credible or not. Next, applying chapter concepts. So the chapter also provides sample questions such as determining whether a scale has acceptable reliability, identifying what permissions our researchers must obtain, describing how to locate appropriate instruments, listing the steps our researchers must consider in designing procedures. So this example shows how the concept apply in real research situations. So to summarize, collecting quantitative data is careful step-by-step process. Researchers must first select participant, secure permission, decide what data to collect, choose or create instruments, understand measurement scales, administer procedure consistently, follow ethical rules. So, all these steps help ensure that the results of the study are accurate, trustworthy, and ethical sound.
So that's all for my part. Thank you for listening.